Yeah, I've been waiting for this one. I really have. Bill Osowski from Poulsbo is here, going to do baked stuffed shrimp. But the key is, what's he going to stuff it with? Watch this. Bill, where'd you get the recipe, first of all?
Well, I developed it back east when I was living there in Connecticut, and it's a recipe that I found that I've kind of tweaked a little bit, made it my own.
Okay, well, let's get cooking here and see what we do.
Okay, well, first I'm going to take some crackers. I'm going to take some Ritz crackers.
And you leave them in the package to crunch it?
Yeah, I just find it's easier and makes a less of a mess. I don't like to use a food processor because it makes them all too fine. Or I just use
that texture.
Yeah, I want some texture in it, so I'll just do that.
And they're pretty uniform, too, the way you do it.
Not too bad.
Nice
Not too bad. I might have to crumble up a couple with my fingers. So then I take a roll of these butter crackers and I do the same thing.
So George has been talking about this recipe for days.
Yes, ever since I saw what was coming in.
I heard he's a shrimp lover.
Well, not only just a shrimp lover, but also what you're going to put in it. I'm a lover of that, too.
Oh, you're a lover of that, too?
I'm not going to give it away.
Well, okay. And then we'll put like a teaspoon, half a teaspoon of garlic powder.
Okay.
Freshly ground pepper.
Oh, yeah.
Gotta have that, George.
Yeah, I think so.
That.
Okay.
Some chopped parsley, maybe about 3-4 tablespoons.
Sure.
Take some Parmesan Reggiano.
And this is the real deal.
The real deal. Nothing but the real deal for this dish.
If you're going to go to all this trouble, you need to use great quality ingredients.
Absolutely, I'm all for that. Why skimp?
I love great Parmesan.
Yeah.
I don't know, George. We may be fighting over these.
I think so. You know, it may be my imagination, but it just seems to me that cheese tastes better and smells better if it's done like this rather than buying it already crushed.
Oh,
Right. Well, when it starts losing flavor as soon as you cut it up. So the stuff that's already grated, it doesn't have nearly as much flavor as the
and
stuff
just the aroma we're getting off this is
so what's
wonderful.
okay. Then we're going to take the bread.
Okay.
And I usually have the bread frozen, but couldn't do it for TV, so we just lap off the crust.
All right.
And then I usually cut it into strips and just dice it.
Oh, tiny.
Like itty bitty croutons.
Yeah. And that gives it some body too.
Okay. This is going to absorb all that fantastic flavor.
Yes. And that's one of the things, all the recipes that I would try back east, they didn't have any bread in them, I don't think. I think it was mostly crackers.
And then they get kind of dry.
Yeah, and it makes the consistency kind of mushy and, I don't know, not firm enough for me. Texture is important in this dish to me.
Yes. It's that mouthfeel thing.
Yeah. So
right.
3 slices of bread.
Okay. There we go.
All right. And then we have 2 sticks of butter.
Yes. Melted?
Yep. And that goes right into the...
Oh, boy.
All right.
This is why you're going to love it. As Julia says, everything's better with butter.
Yep.
And actually, that is a butter blend. I've cut down a little bit in my older age because I just need to. So then you take some scallops. And I think this is what George is talking about.
You bet.
Yes.
You bet.
And this is a beautiful scallop. Let me move this out of the way.
I like to use sea scallops. I don't know if I've ever tried this recipe with bay scallops, but
Beautiful. And I can tell that this is just slightly frozen. It's a whole lot easier to cut this way.
yes, it is. And I prefer, like I say, the bread too. It's just easier. It makes things easier. Okay, and we'll add all the rest of that.
Okay. Oh, my.
All right.
That's going to be upsetting, isn't it?
And then we'll add about 3-4 tablespoons of sour cream.
Okay.
We'll take that. There you go. I like to kind of spread it around in there a little bit. And then we just take this and we just mix it up really gently. I like to go down the sides and just kind of flip it around to kind of keep it from getting to that consistency that we don't want.
You don't want it to be packed.
Right, I don't want it to be dense. I want it to be light and fluffy.
It smells great already.
It does.
Hasn't even started
does.
cooking yet.
And sometimes I just run this through just to mix it up a little bit.
Okay, and then what?
Well, then we have to put that
Then
in the
this
fridge.
chills?
Yes, for at least 3 hours. I prefer overnight, but 3 hours is good enough in the fridge.
Okay. We've got some in here,
I
right?
did forget one ingredient, but that's okay.
We put a little wine in
A
there
little bit of wine in there.
Okay.
Maybe 3 or 4 tablespoons.
to moisten it up a bit.
Yeah, and give it a little bit more flavor. And then this is the finished product.
That's the finished product from the refrigerator.
So then we take one of our shrimp, and I like to buy 12 to 15 a pound. These are already deveined. I would prefer to have the ones that are not deveined, only because you have that light, that outer skin that you can cut into. But you can use these. And then you just
Butterfly it.
butterfly it. Lay it out. Then you take your stuffing. Take a nice, good sized scoop.
Boy, I guess.
Just lay it in there. Might have to form it a little bit. And
Oh my. See, I told you you were going to like it.
You're going to want this one.
Oh yeah.
I hope so.
Get the DVD so that you can
Yes.
have all the technique.
And
No, you made a good point there, Carol. The DVD gives much more than really just the recipes, because it shows how the person who had the recipe really handles different things and makes it much easier for you. Like I just shouldn't have known.
well, that's the part I didn't add to the shrimp, George.
Okay, so what's next? Now we're going to bake these?
Yep, we're going to bake these in a 350-degree oven for about 20-25 minutes. The finished product, I think you will agree,
Oh my.
looks pretty good.
Wait till you take a look at this, gang.
Ooh, George, there's one for you in here.
One. I heard the word one. Look
Okay.
at that. Isn't that something?
Okay.
Oh, sir, thank you.
My pleasure. None for you?
None for me. Let me just put some
Okay.
here for our viewers to see how beautiful these are.
What do you think, George? Oh, wait till you're done
See you
chewing.
later, folks. That's so good I'd have it every night, I think.
Unfortunately, yeah, it's not very good for the waistline, but
Probably
it's
not.
delicious enough to have every night.
Yeah.
They don't last long in my house, George.
Well, you know, holidays only come every few months or so. And if you had this every few months, you'd be a happy camper, let me tell you. Would you like some of this?
I would, yes. I've been waiting all day for this.
I know.
I gotta get some stuff in there. Sometimes
Let
it's
me
a
get
little
some stuff in
hard.
here.
Isn't that wonderful?
This is fine, very fine.
Thank you very
You're
much.
going to want to make this.
You may wonder what happens to the rest that's in this dish. The volunteers get it. They come in with these great big plates just covered. I'm going to do that for the wine. Take the wine.
I'll take the wine.
Okay. But those are fantastic. And if you ever want to use something that's really different and will impress everybody in the room, try this recipe. The recipes are great. Bill, thank you so much. This
Yes.
My pleasure.
Thank you. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
Give us a
Is there any more
telephone
left
call.
over there?
1-800-443-1999. It's worth getting this recipe, folks. Call us.